Greetings, adventurers. Do you seek news about the gaming world? Then you have come to the right place. Sit down and relax, because your host Dvalin will update you on everything you need from the gaming world with his companion Alumio. Give them both a big welcome, and welcome to Gaming Landscape Podcast. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gaming Landscape Podcast. It's an honor to have you all back in episode 2. And welcome back, Alumio.
Howdy. Glad to be here yet again, and glad to be told some new things that I'll probably never heard about, and I hope to find it out by you.
Super. Yeah, because everyone who's listening right now, this is the show where we're going to update you all on gaming news. So basically, I will take all the hot gaming news, which I like personally, and put them in here, throw them at Alumio. You will comment them, talk about them, and out there you will feel very informed, sitting in the car, sitting in the bus, sitting at the work, whatever you do, laundry, anything. You will be very blessed with all the gaming news we have. So, Alumio, are you ready for the first topic?
Super duper ready. Let's go.
Good. So, a really hot topic is that Apex Legends is getting a huge update. They're getting an update called Legacy. In this update, we are getting a new permanent, really permanent mode, which is a free versus free arena style mode. The mode is basically, you could say, they take the fundamentals of Valorant. So you pick your hero with your class and spells. You have a shop where you either buy spells or you can either buy weapons, and then you just fight free versus free, and you play the best out of 3 rounds.
So they're basically grabbing their battle royale game, and they're implementing a team versus team game in there, like an arena mode. Is that right?
That is totally right.
Okay, so that's an interesting take. So usually games start with the arena mode, and they introduced the battle royale mode. I suppose Apex did it the other way around, but it does have very good. I haven't played it in ages, I gotta say, 'cause it's not my usual style of game. But the time I played it, it did have very, very good feeling mechanics and the movement and all of that, which I think comes from Titanfall, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, definitely. The game feels definitely like a version of Titanfall. And I have to agree, I played yesterday one game on my stream, and the game feels so good when you play it. Like, probably one of the best feeling shooters out there. But this new mode here is giving Apex Legends another chance to be on the competitive map, because if they really success with this map, mode, it's going to have different maps. They are basically having a competitive scene where they can set up big teams in the world fighting free versus free, and I think this is the reason for why they do this is for being on the esport competitive world. What do you think about this? Do you think it's like a chance to get in there?
So they were not in the competitive scene before, right, with the battle royale mode, or were they? I do think they had some early tournaments, right? Because usually battle royale games do have, at least might be small, but to most of them, but they do have a competitive scene to some degree. Was this not the case with Apex?
They had a competitive mode where they have the ranked mode, so you can stay, grow up in ranks and so on. I even saw a few competition they did, but not something not on Fortnite scale where you'd have a big million prize pool or something like that.
Yeah.
So they had something small and ranked game mode, but I think a free versus free mode is easier to handle instead of having 100 players sitting in the same room.
It is for sure. It does for sure bring in my opinion, bring the action. It tightens up the action where you won't have your spectator mode jumping from between 10 different teams, and some of them might just literally be doing nothing because they're just running around grabbing things or laying in wait to see if another team passes by or whatever. While with an arena match, an arena version of the game, uh, I do think they can explore it a lot more and create something that is so much more action packed, both in gameplay feel and
Hmm.
in visual feeling, that it could potentially bring them up in exposure to the public, to like the gaming community. Although I do think that Apex is quite high. If you look on Twitch, it is relatively high in viewership still, maybe like in the third or fourth row, or to some degree.
Hmm.
But I do think it could potentially bring it up a lot more. And is this? I assume this is in the launcher for like the battle royale mode, for the battle royale game, just has a different
It will
mode you
be.
select.
It will be. You just have to like click on the mode where you normally pick also another mode right now, and then you just pick the free versus free mode, and then you can either pick the battle royale mode. So it will just be integrated into the game.
Yeah, I do think this is a very good change because it can actually end up bringing people into the game that just don't play battle royales, but
Yeah,
they do like them. They're arena games.
yeah.
Uh, and I think you mentioned like on the overview of this mode, you mentioned that you could have some shop types, like some economy type system in it, like in the actual mode, or am I wrong?
No, no, no. You heard correctly. Yeah, it's gonna be a shop where you get economy. So like the of course the team that wins will of course have more cash to buy spells, upgrades, and so on. You can even buy the armor. Then you can buy the armor again, and it becomes the better armor, and the better armor you can like upgrade all your pieces. You can even upgrade the weapons so they get like all the equipments on like scopes and all that. So you really have to be tactical about what you're gonna buy. Are you gonna buy defense? Are you gonna buy better weapons, better spells? So it's really up to that point. So it's even more, you can say, a bit more tactical than Valorant, because I know Valorant is a very tactical game, but with the shop here, you have like different upgrades you can buy up. So it's really up to you which way are you gonna go, for the more offensive way, tactical way, or more defensive way. So pretty cool, pretty cool.
I think that's quite good. Do we know how lengthy the matches are? Like how many rounds, or best of 5 or best of
It's
10?
it's best of three. But that means, if, for example, if my team wins two times and then your team wins two times, then it's just then we have 4 rounds in total. But then the next round is gonna like
Oh,
fight.
so it's first to 3, right? Not best of 3.
It's actually best of three.
Is that? I thought best of 3 was you have 3 matches. The one who wins, the first to win 2 wins. I thought.
Yeah, but then I read something on the website saying if you win like two times, and the other team win two times, then you have to like win two times again in a row. So you could basically end up having like like 4 wins, and the other team 5 wins. So
Oh,
it's
okay, so it's like up to a difference or something along those lines.
exactly not 100% sure how to calculate it, but up that way. So yeah, you can risk having a lot of games, but I think in most cases there will be found a winner quite quickly. It's some normally goes that way.
I do. This is something I'm quite looking forward to now that you've introduced this to me. Because yeah, like I said before, I do quite enjoy the movement and all those aspects around the gameplay of Apex, just not the battle royale mode itself.
Mm, mm.
Uh,
No.
but an arena mode, an arena match with these mechanics, uh, I do think there's quite a big potential in having some interesting, like unusually designed maps, like layout wise, just due to the sheer capability of movement options that you have with all like the sliding and the climbing stuff, uh, which has a higher, like a higher climbing range than just jumping on boxes, and a lot faster to move around.
Mm.
Do you know, like, I don't think Apex, like it at its launch or even till now, had wall movement, like running along walls, but I think Titanfall did have it. Do you know if they're introducing that, like more movement options to the?
No. They're saying they're gonna have keep the feet on the ground. So yeah, you can of course still like move up against walls, like crawl up against walls, like go over or crawl up on a building, but no running on the walls.
Okay, so it's keeping its basis
Yeah.
mechanics wise, like movement mechanics wise, but introducing its whole aspect of
Yeah.
economy and
But I'm
potential.
gonna pause you there because there's even more.
Okay.
We're not even. We only like through 33% of the new things that are coming with the game, and well, because they are also introducing a new hero, which is called Valkyria, and she's a winged avenger. So basically, it's a lady with some kind of suit on. She reminds of the hero from Overwatch with also the jetpack on. She's basically also a lady with a jetpack. And I'll just go through the you can say the ability she has. The passive ability is called VTOL jets. Use jetpack to fly. Fuel is limited but refills over time. So basically, she can fly. That's pretty cool.
Okay, like Farah from Overwatch. Yeah.
Exactly. And then she has the tactical ability, which is missile swarm. She basically chooses a rear in front of her, and then she like shoots missiles around, out from her wings, and just like bombard a place. Pretty cool ability.
Okay, so it is literally Farah.
Yeah. You could say, but without the login, you can say rocket launcher. She also has.
Okay, so is it her ultimate like?
No. The ultimate is called Skyward Dive. She launch into the air and skydive. Allies can hook into take-off system to join you. So basically, she can like fly up in the air and then choose another place to like fly down, so they can escape from situations they're not gonna win.
Oh, okay. Well, that's quite new, like quite different. For some reason I was thinking that it was just a jetpack and the raining down fire. I guess a medivac situation where you're gonna just medivac people out of a tough spot is quite something. I suppose you can also use that to engage onto people or to get closer to people.
Of course.
And just to try out so many different possibilities. I do think it also depends on how loud it is. I don't fully remember.
Yeah, but from the trailer you can see it goes really, really, really fast. So even though the enemies hear you, you'll be like jumping on them. And they even show in the trailer that you can like either use it for escaping or like really push someone.
Okay, that is quite interesting then. I do wonder how that will behave on the arena matches. And I think it does make me question. Sorry, I think it does make me question. Do we know how big these arena matches?
They're small.
They're small, so there's the possibility of some characters just not doing much.
For example, my main character is gonna be the most trashy character on the map. He's the one who's flying around with drones. And that's normally a good thing in like the normal maps, because you can like sit down in a house and fly around a big area to see where the enemies are. But in this map here, where everyone is like in the same little place, his drone ability is like totally useless.
Okay, so there will be that scenario, that bad point. I do hesitate to call it actual bad point, but that negative trait to this new mode, that some character kits are potentially just not equipped to deal with the smaller sized maps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There will be some champions. I would probably say it's gonna be like a meta. There will be like good champions, and there will be very, very, very bad champions. but again, the game is all. I mean, the main aspect of like 70% of the combat in this game is all about shooting and aiming. So it will still be an important factor.
Okay.
So
I just suppose. Yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah. So just forgetting like the last news about Apex Legends. is that it's actually also coming to mobile.
Okay. Is that going to be its own thing?
It's going to be a Control-C, Control-V of the game. It's basically going to be the same game, but they don't want to support crossplay / cross progression. So it's going to be their own game. It's going to be the same game, but it's not going to be cross.
I was going to say, like, cross play would be quite horrible.
Well,
I
I'm a bit sad it doesn't have cross progression, because I mean, in Fortnite it was cool that I could play on my same account on my mobile and on my PC, so I could complete the same quests, have the same battle pass and all that. So here they basically telling you either have to play here or there, not on both.
I do think that comes as less as of a choice, a design choice, but probably, in my amateur opinion, probably more of system restriction, in that they are separating it so much from the not making crossplay and such, that how they potentially have the game set up, it just does not allow for a divide between crossplay and cross progression.
I mean, they're just doing the same as Call of Duty. Call of Duty has huge success with having a PC version and a mobile version. PUBG has a huge success with having a PC version and a mobile version. So of course Apex Legends is just doing the same as the Kings.
But yeah, that last one doesn't really, the last piece of news from Apex doesn't really impact me much interest-wise. It's just purely for not being a mobile player for the bigger games. But I do think it's quite something. It's a new potential market that they can explore to try and get some cash flow in. But that main one, that big one with the arena mode, is quite a game changer, in my opinion, in pushing the game forward into a higher audience.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I think that's the Apex. I think everyone is updated on Apex now, so we can go to the next topic. So it is time for the topic 2, and we're going to talk about a legendary game, which is an old game, which is still being played. We're going to talk about Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMORPG, which still a lot of people play, and I know our dear friend Boast, he's a big lover of that game, and that's why I thought, let's cover this game, because it is still an MMORPG, and I'm a big fan of the MMORPGs, so it's worth talking about this game. I guess you know the game, right?
I do know the game. I never played it, and it never clicked to me.
No,
but I'm surprised. So it's still getting actual active development, is it?
It is in highly detail, and because now we're going to talk about the update, which has released on the 27th April. It was actually we were supposed to talk about this before the update came out, but I had to push this episode, so now it's out. It's been out for 2 days, and it's the patch called 6.3, and the name is The Dark Descent. And just to take the main points of what is new in this, patch, is they have added a new flashpoint called Secret of Enclave, where I visit the ruins of the Jedi Enclave of Dantooine in pursuit of Darth Malgus. Basically, flashpoints are like dungeons, if you didn't know that.
Okay.
So we're getting a new dungeon. We're also getting a new Galactic Seasons, new rewards by playing the game and completing daily and weekly priority objectives. Galactic Seasons is it's kind of like a battle pass.
Okay, so would you have to buy into it?
I am actually not sure. Wait, no. It says here, subscribers can earn additional reward through bonus reward track.
Okay, so it is a straight up battle pass with the free and premium pass.
Yeah, pretty much. And I think it's a good thing for game which is kind of little bit dead.
Yeah.
Because it adds more revenue, and it adds something that the people who plays it can do. And the last thing they add is a new ranked PvP season, so season 14. And it's nothing new in PvP. It's basically just a new PvP season. So now all the PvP lovers, they can again climb the rank and see who can get to top
new
1.
Rewards. Yep, new rewards and such.
Exactly. But the most interesting thing here is that people are saying that this is probably going to be the last update for this game. Well, until now, because the people say, the rumors is that after this 6.3 update, they're coming with a whole new big expansion.
Okay, it's quite interesting. Is there any basis to this?
No, I mean, there's no. The developers said they're keeping updating the game, and they have some big updates coming in late 2021. So so it's 100% going to be a new expansion after this 6.3. Maybe it's gonna be also 6.4, but it's just fun to see how this game that no one talks about is still getting so much love from. I think it's BioWare, which is the developer.
Okay, like. This is quite something. So it is hanging in there, potentially with its niche player base. I don't even know if it's proper to call it a niche player base because I have no idea of its size. I just do know that it's not as pushed out there, not as mainstream as the other ones. Is it even considered one of the big ones, currently out there?
I mean, it normally has the same viewers on Twitch as close to Guild Wars, Albion Online, and Rift. So it's not as big as those titles, but it's hanging right at the boots of them.
Okay, so that's good. It's quite a healthy player base then. Yeah. I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite good that they're still pushing out content for it, even after all these years, and it not being the top or near the top of MMORPGs, but it's good as its fan base is getting more and more of potentially good things for them.
Yeah, and if anyone out there has been watching Mandalorian and you're like, oh my god, I just need more Star Wars in my life, you can go play the game now. It's free. You can play it. They even have a shop where you can buy a Mandalorian skin so you can run around and look like Mandalorian if you really just need this Mandalorian in your life.
Okay. Do you know how easy it is to get into it? Like, how is the new player support for it?
I actually downloaded recently and created a new character, and it's really cool. It's really giving a good introduction, like a tutorial. Then you begin to do the quests, and later on you can do dungeons and PvP. So it's very new player friendly. So everyone can just go in, have fun with the game, and just go on. So yeah, so if you haven't tried it out there and you're listening to this, feel free to go in and try it. Definitely.
Yes, for sure, quite something interesting. I never was a big fan of Star Wars universe. Like a lot of people are looking at me the wrong way now that I said this, but I was never too fond of this universe. But it's good that its fans are getting more and more of it, so that they can experience the universe they love for more time to come, more years to come.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so yeah, enough about the Star Wars: The Old Republic. That was the topic 2. Let's go to topic 3, which is pretty hard. So, as we are talking, we are going to topic 3, which is Sword of Legends Online, also called Solo. So, Alumio, have you heard about this game?
I do think I've seen you mentioning it around on Discord. I have not looked into it. I do have to say it does. Unless it is advertised with a lot of mechanical novelty to it, like this game is doing introducing some completely fresh mechanics to the genre, etc., etc. Unless it's doing something like that, where I'll be able to catch wind of it through those means. Usually, Asian style, like Asian culture themed MMOs typically don't pique my interest right away, just by first looks alone. So I do not really know what that game entails.
No. Okay, that is fine. So for everyone who's listening, I'm gonna give you a quick brief. So this game, basically called Sword of Legends Online, is a MMORPG, which already is released in other parts of the world, but it's coming now to Europe and US. And the cool thing is that no, it's not gonna release in our, you could say, countries or something with just bad graphics. They are basically remaking-ish the game, so it looks really cool. Because if you look at Twitch and some of the streams who is right now playing on the, like the Asian servers, you can see the game's more it's more like looking like Rift, which is a bit more like the graphics in that. And then we have the new, where the developers are even streaming from their own streams, and you can just see how the graphics is really like impressing. It's more like Black Desert Online now, which looks pretty cool. But just very quickly through, what is this game? Basically, everyone is fighting for the same faction. It's the light versus the darkness, and it is this typical Asian universe with, everyone is like with the light, and then the darkness is trying to take over the world. We have to fight back the darkness. And then it's a typical theme park MMO, dungeons, all that things like dungeons, raids, PvP. It even has housing, so you can get your own island, and that system is so complex. You can really play stuff as you want, like build your own mountains and stuff like that. It's for people who like housing, you will really like this. Then
I suppose it does have the benefit of, since it technically is a released game that's getting a big upgrade to it. It did have its years of content addition, so I do suppose that getting into it, you should have a lot of content to eat through.
Yeah, actually no. Since in the Eastern version, I think it's called, they have more classes than we're gonna get. The developers have said that we are gonna get it on the roadmap, but on release we are going to get the same content as they actually got.
Okay. That's a little bit disappointing, can't lie.
Yeah, exactly. But they're gonna drip it on us like a waterfall. So in this case, we're gonna start with 6 classes. We're gonna have the Spell Sword, the Reaper, the Summoner, the Bard, the Berserker, and the Spearmaster. The names of the classes basically tells pretty much what they do. It looks pretty cool. No gender lock. You can play a female, male, whatever you want. But yeah, it's a typical theme park MMO in Asian style. Graphic is pretty cool in the new version here. So and combat reminds a bit, I'm not going to say it reminds 100% of Black Desert Online, because it's a bit more complicated, but a bit like that. So I think a lot of people is actually going to like this game. I personally myself have pre-ordered the game, and also have joined the official content creator program and got accepted into it. So, content will come from that game. So
congratulations.
Well, thank you. So from listening to what I just told shortly, will this be something that you could consider playing, Alimio, or would you be like, no?
I do think, just as an additional question, so I can build my image of it, does it even have different races, or is it literally just humans?
Humans.
Okay, yeah, so that, for me, that does push it probably against something that I won't be playing, just because of the combination of what it has of it's already a released game, so there is no big innovation in there mechanically. And although through what you said, the housing system being very intricate, but that alone isn't enough to hook me in. But yeah, the combination of not really doing anything different basically means that it's, and this is a personal opinion of mine, its bland theme doesn't, both in looks, the style being used, the decisions behind, like there's no races, it's a pure human vanilla Eastern theme of the game itself.
Yeah, I mean,
does make it bland to me. So I don't think it's something I would dip my toes in, but I'll be for sure seeing the videos that you put out and make my decision then.
I mean, I had it like you 100%, especially about the humans, but then I played Guild Wars, then I played Black Desert Online, then I played Rift, and it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna go get used to this. But I agree with you. I prefer also games where you have like orc, humans, elves, or something like that. but it just seems like it's not the nature of games anymore. It's all about humans now. Okay. No, you had the last thing?
I do think it's not necessarily from the point of adding elves or the orcs or like the stereotypical different races that you would usually see in most games, but the fact of getting some variety in there visually. Because unless they have some very outlandish looks, the differing looks in armors and body sizes and whatever between the classes, at least to me personally, there would be some blandness in there of everywhere you turn is just more and more humans, the same similar body structures, etc., etc.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have a character creation in it, which is pretty, you can really build your own character in it. But again, still only human. By the way, I am sorry for the Guild Wars players. I forgot that Guild Wars actually has these small gnomes and wolves. But when you play a game, like 90% of the people you see is human. No one plays double races, so that's just why I thought on it.
Gonna be getting some very angry emails.
Yeah, all the Guild Wars community is gonna eat me now. Okay, any last words on Sword of Legends, or else we're gonna let that baby down?
Let's move on.
Cool. So, topic number 4. It's a very special topic because I know it's mostly going out for the mobile gamers out there. But RuneScape, the new RuneScape game, not the old RuneScape, but the new RuneScape, which is also pretty popular, and Albion Online are both releasing on mobile this summer. And the reason for why I mentioned this is because I think it's kind of fun that both these games has been promising to get like mobile versions for a very long time, and then and the game also reminds of each other, and then they release the mobile versions on exactly the same point on summer. I mean, what is the chances for that?
I mean, I have no idea if there was any play behind that. That one of them knew about the scheduling, and they just attempted to schedule it for the same zone from the same region of the year, the same time of the year. But it's probably something like that behind it. But I did not know about Albion. I thought it had come out already at some point in the past, but that's a new thing to me. I did. I was aware from RuneScape 1 that one was coming out soonish. I didn't know exactly when, and that they had somehow done the HUD, like the graphical interface. They had done a quite good port to the mobile version. It did like feel good to use or something along those lines. I talk about this because I saw it from a random YouTube video that I got in my recommended. But I do think that was the case where they had done a good job in porting over the UI and making it sure that you could play it more smoothly. Because let's be honest, a PC MMO, the usual UIs and that it has, all its additions and such, it's more complex than a mobile one, and usually has more systems and menus and whatever windows that you'd have on a mobile game, but that they managed to potentially get that on a good feeling, a good looking version is quite something. And do we even know, is this a separate thing? Is there cross play and cross platform? I assume so.
It's the same game. It's basically the same game. So when you play Albion or RuneScape on the mobile, it's the same game. That's what I understood. I mean, from Albion, I know 100% it's the same game. and for what's it called on the RuneScape.
RuneScape, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure it's also the same version, because they say it's finally here. Now you can play with all the other communities. Like, they're like basically saying welcome to the family. So I'm like 99% sure it's gonna be the same as that. But
So,
sorry.
and sorry for cutting in. I assume, at least on the Albion case, that mobile versions are going to be used more for farming stuff, I suppose, and not really combat with other
Well,
players.
Well, the combat on the mobile is actually quite okay, because it has auto aim. I mean, on PC, you basically also you just have to like click on your enemy and then it attacks it. But yeah, I think you're right. Both Albion and RuneScape, I think mobile version is definitely going to be 90% used for farming. And then, the high-end PvP stuff, you're going to save that for the PC version later in the evening. So you have like the relaxed couch version. But I personally feel like, as you said, I think you're on something, because I think that, Albion, they said, okay, we're ready for the summer. Everyone go to the App Store and click register. And funny enough, I mean, I'm not 100% sure who came first, but then, RuneScape, or it could be the other way, came out and say, hey, we also now releasing on summer, and you can also go now to the Play Store and register. Because I think they have threat that one of them has to be the giant of the mobile market, because basically both of the games remind of each other so much. I know the combat is not the same. Albion definitely has more like ARPG stylish combat, where RuneScape is more like RuneScape combat.
They still clash to some degree in just the nature of what their game is.
Yeah, definitely. Open world, loot, PvP, all that. It's dungeons, dragons, monsters. And both games are very, very crafting heavy. So, but yeah, it's just like, so everyone knows that on summer you can like play Albion and RuneScape on mobile. You can even go to the App Store now if you have Android and pre-register to both of the games. So Lumio, go ahead and pre-register to both games, man.
I'll do that right away after I do. Yeah, I need to go cook dinner. Yeah, I'll do that right after. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, RuneScape, I actually pre-registered on that one. But Albion, I have had that game on my mobile for like a half year now. And the game has been in something, like closed beta. So you could get the game if you wanted. You just had to go to the forums and follow a guide, and then you could get the game on your mobile. But now they're doing open beta, where everyone can get in, and they have increased the performance and, really made the game fun to keep, and not like the closed beta could sometimes be like a pain in the butt.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good then. It's another opportunity, another avenue for people that enjoy those games to potentially do some less active activities on their accounts when they're not at their computer, basically on their commute to work, in the train, etc. On a break from the work, just whatever they get a chance to.
Definitely. And I also think it's going to help both games to get more players. Albion Online right now has 140k players on a daily basis, and I think it can grow with 100%. Like double. I think it can grow double if the mobile is going successfully, because mobile is just a bigger market. It has more players. It has more money. Like 70% of the gaming market's earning the last year was from the mobile market. So if they do it right, it can explode. Like literally explode. Okay. So I think that's enough for the mobile talk. Let's go to the next topic. Good. So now we're going to talk about a game which I don't play, but I'm following the game on a big basis. I'm like the lurker in the shadow, which really follows the game. I follow the Twitter, I follow the YouTube.
You're a stalker. You're a stalker. Yeah, you're stalking it.
I'm basically stalking the game, but I'm waiting for the right move, time to get in. And the game we're going to talk about is basically Warframe. Have you heard about that game?
Yes, it would be a bit hard to say I've not heard of the game just from the nature of being a Steam user and it's being a big thing in there, at least on the free-to-play section and on the featured pages every now and then when a big update comes out.
Exactly.
So, what's in store for this?
See, that's the thing. So Warframe, they just got a new, well, you could say hero. We're not going to talk about him, but they just got this new shadow hero, which basically looks like a shadow monster. But that is not the thing we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about what's happening next, because Warframe is known for having this show called the TennoCon. And TennoCon is basically like BlizzCon, like all these,
Okay, yeah.
all this is the show where they're going to talk about all the big news for Warframe. And on the July 17, it's going to show TennoCon 2021. And on the last TennoCon, we got a lot of new like missions to see. We got this new mission where you can like fly around in the space and do space missions. Like it was like a huge upgrade for the game. So actually, no wait, I think that was TennoCon like last time. Last time we saw a new planet you could get to, like a demon planet with a lot of monsters and so on. Like really cool. So it's like every time they have this TennoCon, they show something even cooler. So now on July 17, I'm like, what could be the next thing? I mean, could they have something in store for us that would make Warframe attractive for more players? Or would it just be like something niche? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I suppose if they had the track record of each convention they do, like they show something bigger and bigger and bigger, like you seem to have described, it does beg the question that since the last one was the introduction of a planet, like of a whole planet, and potentially, I assume it's a new faction or race that players were fighting, like with these demon looking mobs.
Yeah, I mean it's a new planet. I mean, I think I actually watched this comet. But it's like it's one of the big maps where it's like open world and questers, and I think the monsters they fight are the same monsters they have met. Like the monsters from other maps, but it's more like it's more like this is like where they come, not like where they come from, but it's like it's a comet where they have like controlled it 100%, so it's like full of monsters.
Okay, but yeah, with this, the last thing they introduced being ignoring, well, looking over the last character, that being the very latest thing that they released. But aside from characters, the last thing being a literal planet full of monsters and such, it does raise the question of how are they going to one up that,
Yeah.
and or if they even going to attempt to one up that, it might be something a bit more retracted in size and scope. But if it is bigger, that it hopefully is something that allows a better introduction to from new users and or something to look forward for both players that play the game and new users that would be looking into it and seeing this big update that comes out potentially in a feature of the store of the Steam store page um, and the likes, that there's something actually big and captivating to potentially raise the audience. I do think Warframe does have like a big audience, right? It must have.
They have a quite big audience. They usually be on, if you go to Steam charts or Steam DB, they're usually always on like the first page of games. And I can see again they are right now on the 15th place with, as we speak right now, 43,000 people is playing the game. And it has total into for the like the highest peak was 66,000 people for the last 24 hours, and that's a quite big number because the failure is that when people look at this and say, okay, the game has 44,000 people playing the game right now, that's actually a lot because they have to remind of all the people who's logging in and out, in and out, in and out, So these 44,000 people could basically be, I don't know, maybe 250, maybe 500,000 people daily.
Exactly. It's cycling through a bunch of different accounts, and it's not just 40,000 individuals, but in actuality, it's 40,000 active accounts currently in the game.
Exactly. It would be so cool if Steam they actually showed like how many have been on today in total, so we could see like how many plays the game instead of this, because this number really can cheat. I mean, look at Counter-Strike, it's number one right now. It has 800,000 people playing right now as we speak. That's probably like maybe 5 million people daily or something like that. I don't know.
It's a big number, yeah. I wouldn't say 5 million, but quite a big number.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, but right now it has almost 1 million people playing as we speak. So yeah, insane, really insane. But yeah, it was just like a heads up for everyone out there. If they are like Warframe fans, it's TennoCon is on July 17. Put it on your calendar, and let's see what big news we're gonna get there. So the next topic here is actually it's a sad topic, but also at the same time cool topic. There was once a game called Battlerite. You can actually still find it on Steam. Battlerite was one of my favorite games. I know it has the controls with WASD. It's basically an arena MOBA game with WASD controls. That's probably also one of the reasons why it died, because people they just demand mouse clicks nowadays.
I do think, interjecting there, I do think that isn't the case itself of, because the gameplay of Battlerite was quite solid, and it still is. If you can somehow find a match, I have no idea if it's dead or if it just has a very niche community. But the actual core gameplay loop itself was very, very solid. In my opinion, the issue that happened with it is that there was no introduction of proper progressions. So, because the game was so skill heavy, so skill dependent, so any disparity in player skill would be instantly noticed, just purely because of how mechanical the game is or was. That feeling is extremely noticeable, and so the lower and lower the community grew, like the more it reduced in size, the
Yep.
more that was noticeable, because, well, less population, less people to find to balance matches with, and it just becomes worse and worse until only the hardcore fans are left. But the actual gameplay loop itself, I don't think was the issue. The issue being a bit more of the developers' decisions. So lack of proper, meaningful progression, of cosmetic progression, or whatever, like horizontal side progression. Pardon. Um, just incentives from playing. You get what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with you. The reason for why I'm just mentioning the WASD is also because if you look at all the games which is on top 100 right now, which is isometric view, none of them has WASD movements. They are basically all with mouse clicks, and that's why I'm just saying, like, I think when a Dota or League of Legends player they go into Battlerite and they find out they have to use WASD, I think also it can, like, it can make some of them run away screaming. But I agree with you that if we don't look at that, the combat was solid, it was cool, and I really, really, really enjoyed the gameplay.
I do agree that there is a potential scare factor of players that have never experienced Battlerite, or the older game that they had, which was Bloodline
Bloodline.
Champions. That a fresh new player that comes into the game from a typical MOBA background like League of Legends, Dota, whatever, could potentially trip up themselves with the deferral of how the controls are, because in here, in Battlerite at least, you did have You have to be constantly moving. It's a very skill, mechanical dependent game, and the fact of you can't just be spamming the auto attack, which is just a firing in one direction, just constantly spamming, purely because you lose movement speed, you lose speed as you're doing that. Like your speed is roughly cut in half, and you're easier to hit by the other people. So you can't be spamming as much and be more mindful of resources that the game had, which were, I think it was like some energy bars or something that certain skills on your character would consume.
Yeah.
Energy bars, and that was a lot harder to fill back up than just than compared to like a mana in League of Legends and such, where you just consume it by using skills, and though that would give you a lot, depending on character, of course, but it would give you a lot of skills that you could use. You could just use the same skill over and over off cooldown, but in Battlerite at least, you'd have like 4 bars you could fill, and certain skills would use 1 bar, and that would take a bit of time to refill because you had to collect some orbs, I believe, to get that energy back.
Yeah, I actually confused now because like I kind of reminded like the latest update it was just all about cooldowns on spells. But I'm not 100% sure. But
majority of skills, don't get me wrong, majority of skills were resourceless. You could just use them without spending.
Just cooldown.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're thinking about the ultimate.
Not just the ultimate. The ultimate was a big one that had required a bunch, but you had like some shift
that's true.
Skills.
Yeah, you could instead of using the ultimate, you could hold down shift and use like a light version of the ultimate, which only required 1 power orb.
Yeah, something along those lines. But just all those things together with the fact that it's still a big, a decently sized shift from you moving around, right clicking, and you can right click the enemy to attack, to you actually have to fully control like your character, and as soon as you stop pressing the keys, that your character stops. You can't just make a path to walk in one direction.
Okay, but we probably require to tell the listeners why we actually talk about this game, because we forgot to mention that, and the reason for why we're talking about this old game. So just like for finishing the story about the game, if the first started out with, of course, Bloodline Champion, then they then they added this game called Battlerite, which was this 3 versus 3 game. You could also do 2 versus 2, and then they added Battlerite Royale. It was in the time where everyone played battle royale games, so they also tried with the battle royale, and actually I must admit it was hella fun. But because both of the games, Battlerite Royale and Battlerite, they didn't get enough people to play it. The developers couldn't really make the game. They couldn't have a reason to keep developing on it because the game basically didn't have enough players. And then, of course, some people will say, well, you should just keep doing it and, make it more interesting for people. But I think they saw the end of it, and that's why they basically told no new updates. I mean, last time we got an update for that game was in 2019, so it is basically dead, so on. But that's why we're going to talk about it now, because the developers, they have now, after being silenced on Twitter for 2 years, they are back on Twitter again. They basically told, hello everyone. Well, I'm not going to read anything up, it's more like, but they told on Twitter that they have changed the Battlerite's YouTube channel, so it's not more called, it doesn't called Battlerite anymore, it's called their own developer name, which was, can you remember that in the head?
Stunlock Studios, I believe that was the developers.
It definitely was. Oh, hold on, I just screwed up the video. How did I do that? Oh, there we go. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're right. It's Stunlock Studios. And the thing about that is that they have now renamed the YouTube to Stunlock Studios. And they have now posted that we all should just wait a little moment, sign up for the newsletters, and we will soon know about the new game they are coming out with. And not before we talk about that, they also posted a picture of a skull, and under the skull, on the stone it stands on, it has an inclination. It has a, what is it called? Engram?
Engravings.
Engravings. Yeah. Where it says V/V. Basically could mean 5/5, which basically is the 5th May. And not the 4th May, may the 4th be with you, but May the 5th May. So that basically could tease that in next month, basically in like 6-7 days, I believe it is, we are going to see the next game after Battlerite. What do you think about that?
I think it's quite interesting because, like I said, the gameplay loop, the mechanics of the game itself were extremely solid, like very enjoyable to play. Although, of course, there was the issue that it was very noticeable, like skill differences were very noticeable, just purely because of the game being just mechanics. But I do hope they bring some of this back, and I do assume like their 3 games, Battlerite Royale, Battlerite, and Bloodline Champions, all worked around with the same mechanics, the same style. I do hope that they bring it back, maybe not in a full PvP game. Maybe they do a twist to it for a PvE thing, or PvVP, something like that. Would be interesting. But as long as they bring the actual combat style back, I do think it will get a look at by a lot of people, in my opinion, and hopefully they get they make good decisions this time and properly add progression to the game. They support it, and it's not just here's a very good game loop and play just because.
Yeah, I agree with you. Also, it's worth mentioning that they also worked on this game called Dvalin Epidemic, which basically also looks like Battlerite. You know, it's also a top view game. Combat reminds a bit of the same. But I'm not even sure if this game ever released. I don't really know. When looking up on the game, it's kind of hard, but it was basically going to be like a MOBA arena style game with 4 people playing. Both had PvE zombies and PvP, and it even had a game mode where you're like 4 versus 4 versus 4. Much more than that. But I'm not really sure if that game actually ever released, which is a mystery to me. Oh yeah, sorry. Dead Island development has been cancelled. Servers are closed since October 2015, and you can no longer play the game, it says here. So basically, they have a game, Battlerite, which is dead. Battlerite Royale, which is dead. Bloodline Champion, which is dead. And Dead Island Epidemic, which is dead. So that means all the developers they have used for all these different games are now working on one new project.
Hopefully, it doesn't die quickly as well.
Well, I mean, fingers crossed they have learned their lessons. And even I know they have I saw on their Twitter last month they looking for a new community manager, for helping everyone with the team and showing off the game, creating a community on the Discord, and like work with content creators to make more hype about the games. So I mean, if they found that person, I also think it's gonna help them with getting more out on the edge. But yeah, so it's gonna be fun to see on the 5th May what we're gonna get as the next game from them after 2 years of silence.
Hopefully something good indeed.
Hopefully. So that was the last topic for us today, Gaming Landscape Podcast. I hope everyone who's listened feels very blessed with gaming news now. I mean, I have handpicked all the news that I like to talk about, and all the news that I thought was like pretty interesting for me to like read about. So everyone, thanks for listening, and again, thanks Alumio for staying with us.
My pleasure indeed. A lot of good new things that I learned. Some of them, well, not as interesting to my person, but others quite captivating indeed, especially that Apex one, which will definitely be bringing me back into the game,
Yeah.
at least to give it a go and see how it goes.
Definitely. And again, if you ever want to chat with Alumio, you can find him on the official Corepunk Discord. Don't worry, you don't have to look at for him. He will be in the chat for sure, helping some new players in there. And if you ever wanted to find me anywhere, you can find me on youtube.com/DvalinDK. I do MMO content and other game content on my YouTube on a weekly basis. So that was just for you all to know where you can find us both. So thanks for, I was about to say watching, thanks for listening to the podcast, everyone. Have a great evening. See you next week again for more Gaming Landscape podcast. Bye.
See you.